Hello everyone, I'm Srividya Karuturi, a PhD graduate and an assistant professor in the United States. If you're planning to pursue PhD in the US and don't know where to start, then this video is for you all. I've been talking to so many students over the past year, and the common mistake that I have identified among all the applicants is they consider and apply for PhD the same way they apply for master's degrees. So in this video, I'm going to give you the step-by-step process of how to apply for PhD positions in USA, and also talk about all the mistakes that you make and some of the mistakes that I have made so that you will not be making the same mistakes in your PhD application process. US PhD admission process is different from all the other countries. In US universities, you get admitted into departments. Departments make the decision with the help of the supervisor. Throughout the admission process, your research experience plays a lot of role, but the funding is decided by your research fit. That is the reason reaching out to professors is more important to secure your funding along with your admission. So let's start with the process. The first step is choosing your research area. Based on your research area, you should choose your universities. The research area should be broad but also narrow enough. Let me explain that. So you don't have to choose your dissertation topic. You have to choose a broad interest area but also narrow enough to help you find a university. For example, instead of just saying I'm interested in neuroscience, I'm interested in psychology, I'm interested in data sciences, I'm interested in mass communication, you have to narrow the topics down. There are a lot of things that you can do in data science. There are a lot of things that you can do in psychology. There are a lot of things that you can research in neuroscience. Let me give you my example. My master's is in mass communication and journalism, and obviously my interest area is something to do with mass communication. Instead of saying I'm interested in mass communications, through some research that I have done and read during my master's, I identified two potential interest areas. One is crisis communication and the other one is social media communication. So based on these true interests, I have narrowed down my universities and applied for them. When I'm applying for universities, I have ensured that there are a good number of professors who have done research in crisis communication and also social media communication. This step is crucial. Knowing your research interest will help you a lot in getting some funding from these universities. And also genuinely think about what is the interest that you have, because PhD is a 3 to 4 year commitment. And also, this is an advice, don't just choose a topic because it's trending. Think about what genuinely interests you, because a PhD is a 3 to 4 year commitment, and choose a topic that you can work on for the next 4 to 6 years. That is the level of commitment and passion that you have to have towards the topic. So remember this when you're exploring your research interests. The second step is finding professors and building your university list. There are two ways that you can do this. The first way is the most recommended way. Instead of finding universities, find a professor who have done a significant amount of research in the area that you wanted to do research, and you can see which university they are currently working and you can start applying there. If I take my example, there'll be a lot of professors who have done significant research on crisis communication and on social media platforms, like different social media platforms. I can look at their profiles, where they are working, and that builds my university list. There is another way. The other way is looking at the universities. For example, if you wanted to get into the top universities, go to the university websites and see if there are any professors who are doing research in the research areas that you wanted to do research on. For example, if I wanted to go to New York University or Colorado University, I would go to the university website, and if I can find professors who are doing significant research in either of these areas, that is going to be on my list, and that is a university that I'll be applying to. So this is how you narrow down your universities. You can either do it based on professors, or you can also do it based on universities, whichever way is more convenient for you. But I would advise to go with the first one, because research fit is more important than the university ranking. After building your university list, we move on to step 3, where you start building your materials. The application materials are simple and similar to your master's program. Start with an academic CV, then your SOP, gather your LORs, give your English exam, and get all your transcript. These are all the materials that are required to apply for a PhD admission in US universities. Let me talk briefly about how to write each document. Your academic CV should mention all your academic achievements, not just jobs that you have done. Include research projects, papers, research projects that you have assisted with, any presentations, publications, teaching experience, awards, any skills that are helpful for doing your research should be mentioned in your CV. And coming to the SOP, just think about these 3 questions. Why this field? Why this university? Why PhD? If your SOP is answering all these questions, your SOP is in good shape. In your SOP, don't just list all your achievements. Connect them with past experiences and tell how they have intrigued this PhD interest in you. That is how you have to write your SOP. And finally, get your LORs from your professors and your supervisors who know your academic capabilities and who can write a recommendation letter highlighting your academic achievements. Your LORs have the capacity to get you into your dream university, so don't take them for granted. And the 4th step is reaching out to professors. And please don't skip this step. If you're skipping this step and you're directly applying on the portal, you're being in the risk of not being funded. So do not take this step lightly. Reach out to professors before applying via email. Introduce yourself, tell why you're interested in their research, and ask if they are taking any PhD students. The email doesn't have to be long. Keep it short and simple and show them that you have read their recent research papers, and that is going to get you an interview with them, and that is how you secure your funding in that university even before you apply. And let me tell you this again from my own experience. I didn't reach out to professors before applying, and due to that, I got a conditional admit and I had to start a PhD without funding. And believe me, that is so scary that you don't want to be in that situation. And if I ever get a chance, I would never ever skip this step. Connecting with professors early helps them know who you are. There will be some professors who are willing to help you. They might not take PhD students, but they are going to refer you to another department. They are going to give out professors' name who are actively looking for PhD students. They will even support you in your admission process. This step makes all the difference. All you have to have is a little patience and belief in yourself. Once you have reached out to the professors, the 5th step is interviews and funding. Some universities don't do interviews. Sometimes you just get an email from the professor saying that, hey, just go ahead and apply in the portal. We are taking in PhD students. That is a very positive sign. Sometimes departments do ask for an interview. And when you get invited to an interview, congratulations, you're making progress. But don't panic. These interviews happen with faculty members, your potential advisors, or your graduate coordinator. During these interviews, just tell about why this university, why this professors, why are you interested in PhD, what are the experiences that you have gained over the years that tell you that you're capable of doing a PhD. Just focus on these things and you will be good for an interview. And also, the most important thing, these interviews are a perfect place to ask about GA, TA, RA positions that are available. US universities often provide funding through these positions. They waive off your tuition and give you some stipend in exchange of some teaching and research responsibilities. This is how funding works. By asking this question, you are able to assess the funding situation in your department even before applying. This is a huge plus for your application. But remember this, you won't get an official confirmation about funding. Oftentimes, professors hint you about the funding situation, so you can make your own decision to apply or to wait until the funding is available. Once the interviews are done, now you are ready for step 6, which is submitting your applications. You have all your materials, so go into the university portals and submit your materials. Applications usually open around September and October, and the deadlines are either December or January or February, depending on the university. So check the deadlines and apply before the deadline. So we have discussed all the other steps. To ensure that you're not skipping any step, start your preparation process really early. That is going to make this whole PhD application process less stressful. And once you submit your application, you're practically done. The last step is the admission letter and funding confirmation. So after you you submit your application in the portal, it usually takes about 2 to 3 months for them to get back to you. So once you receive your admission letter, ensure that your funding is also included in it. If not, reach out to graduate coordinator of that university before you accept that letter, because funding is important and essential to continue and have a stress-less PhD. And if everything is looking good, just accept your offer and start your PhD journey. So that is the 7-step PhD application process in US universities. And here are some tips that are going to help you in making this process into a smooth experience. The first one, start at least 8 to 12 months before the deadline. And remember, applying for PhD is not just about filling an application. It is finding your research fit, building your academic connections, and showing that you're capable of contributing to the knowledge. I made a mistake of not reaching out to professors during the PhD process, and I started my PhD without the funding. I just wished if somebody could have walked me through all the steps in detail, I would have avoided that mistake. That is the reason this video is being made. If you find this video helpful, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to my channel and share this video to another friend who is planning to apply for a PhD in US universities. And stay tuned to know more such informative videos. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!